Ninawasalimu popote mlipo wapenzi watazamaji wa Kenyan Media, hamjambo. Happy Sabbath kwa Waadventista wote ambao mnatutazama. Karibu ili niweze kuwapakulia yale ambayo nimeweza kuyaandaa. Katika kanda hii, ladies and gentlemen, itakuwa ni kanda ambayo ni mrefu ama ndefu. Kwa hivyo ninaomba niweze kuwaarifu mapema. Usije mkashangaa mbona leo nimeweza kuunda kanda ndefu. Siku ya Ijumaa tarehe 15 Novemba mwaka 2024 mwendo wa saa 10 niliweza kufanya mahojiano na mwanahabari mwenye anaitwa Tony Gashoka kabla sijaweza kupatwa na malaria, and that is why umeweza kuona kanda hii imeweza kuchelewa kidogo. Nilimaliza mahojiano mwendo wa saa 11 hivi, nikaugua, nikakimbia, nikapata matibabu malaria. Kwa hivyo msije mkashangaa tangia nilipoweza kufanya mahojiano mwendo wa saa 10 mbona nimekuja kuyaeka late. Mwanahabari huyu mwenye anaitwa Tony Gashoka ambaye ameweza kugeuka na kuwa mwanaharakati mwenye anatetea haki za kibinadamu, ameweza kuamua kuandikia rais mpya wa Marekani barua. Amemwandikia barua kupitia X pamoja na kupitia emails za Marekani, akimuarifu kuhusiana na yale ambayo William Ruto ameweza kuyafanya hapa nchini, pamoja wakishirikiana pamoja na aliyekuwa balozi wa Marekani Maggie Whitman. Sitaki kupoteza muda mwingi wapenzi watazamaji. Usije mkashangaa mbona nimeweza kumtaja, aliniambia niweze kuzungumza jina la kwake. Hata yeye peke yake kwenye mazungumzo yetu utaweza kumsikia akitaja jina lake. Nielewa wapenzi watazamaji. Kwa hivyo ninakuomba uweze kusikiliza hii kanda ambayo tulikuwa tunazungumza na yeye, kisha kutoka hapo nitakuelezea yale ambayo ameweza kuandika kuelekea Amerika mwendo wa saa 1 jioni, because tulifanya mahojiano saa 10, nikawaeleza kwamba nikawa mgonjwa malaria, si ugonjwa mkubwa, malaria. Mwendo wa saa 1 akatundika ujumbe. So ninakuomba uweze kusikiliza hii kanda, then nikuelezee yale ambayo ameweza kuandika kuelekea Marekani kwake Donald Trump, akiomba aweze kuchukua hatua, aweze kuchukulia hatua Rais William Samoei Arap Ruto. Bwana Tony Gashoka, kuniradhi, kama unatusikiliza, ninaomba uweze kutueleza ni sababu zipi ambazo zimeweza kukufanya kuandika email pamoja na kuweza kusukuma chapisho upande wa X ambao zamani ilikuwa inaitwa Twitter kuelekea Marekani, ukieleza kuhusiana na taifa la Kenya. Tafadhali kama unatusikiliza, watazamaji wanangoja uweze kuzungumza.
We are drafting a letter to Donald Trump. We are drafting a letter with several points to him, which we are going to send to him in an online format through Elon Musk at X. We are going to be telling the Trump regime of the various setbacks in the democratic evolution of Kenya since the 2022 election. We are penning a letter where we are going to be raising our concerns about the opposition being swallowed and being prevented from operating in Kenya, so that the president can own parliament and, decree from the state house as a king. We are going to be talking about the lack of the rule of law, abductions and policing masks. We are going to be talking about unconstitutional conduct of the regime of William Ruto that has been enabled to a very large extent by a silent Washington and a silent outgoing ambassador. We want to write that letter very early on to set the tone, to put Zakayo back on the wall, to make sure that the pressure we are putting on the Andani, we can put it now on Ruto directly with Washington. And this idea of bombarding with emails and bombarding X and so on is a very, very good issue. But we now will trail our guns on Zakayo himself by targeting the new government Donald Trump. So before they even take office, that they can get from Kenyans more than any other country. They can be bombarded by information in order that they can be able to see this man for what he was, a man that was being hidden by the Joe Biden administration, but a man who cannot be seen to be a leader in Africa. It was a mistake for him to be hosted in the White House. It was a mistake for him to sit in the Oval Office at the rescue desk. We must expose that was a poor judgment and a betrayal of the friendship of the Kenyan people and the American people. And we must ask Donald Trump in one voice as Kenyans to reverse US policy and to expose this man. I think if we do that very quickly on, Zakayo will definitely be a one-term president and will not be able to go on before there. And that is something that we must all push and push very hard and not allow any breathing space at all. So the brutal way in which William Ruto dealt with the protest after June the 25th had begun to demoralize the young people and began to scare people from feeling that they could come out and air their grievances or be able to say the things that they want to say about their country. And this is an important point of revival. It's an important point that should be amplified and encouraged so that we go back to the constitutional guarantees of peaceful assembly and the rights that are bestowed on every Kenyan under the Bill of Rights, the right to freedom of expression, the right to assemble, the right to picket, and those rights are fundamental and unalienable. And it is very important that we don't let the government get into the habit of intimidation and believing that it is normal. And that is one of the things I'm very happy about Donald Trump, is because this issue of abduction has become normalized. Masked men and unmarked cars abducting people is becoming normal. If we allow that to be normal, we will downgrade ourselves to a point where the government now adds that into their tools of terror. We must resist that abduction label and technique and behavior. They say from a psychological point of view, behavior is caused. And therefore, to deal with behavior, you must deal with the reasons and the causes for behavior. We cannot allow Ruto to believe that he's a king and he is a man without the force of law. And therefore, the march is also a point of defiance. It was best expressed during the civil rights movement of Dr. Martin Luther King, the idea of marching for freedom and marching for a cause. So I want to add my voice to all the students there who are going to be getting together from the Kenyatta University on the 17th, being a Sunday at 8 a.m., walking through to Uhuru Park for the country called Kenya in order to say that this is our country, the right to assemble and the right to picket. I think that is a major issue.
Ni kukatisha kidogo Bwana Tony Gashoka. Sote tunaelewa kwamba wewe ni miongoni mwa wale ambao ama wanaharakati ambao mmeweza kufikisha kesi mahakamani kupingana na kampuni kutoka upande wa India ambayo inaitwa Adani kuchukua ama kutoa uongozi wa uwanja wetu wa ndege wa JKIA katika makubaliano ambayo Rais Ruto aliweza kuafikiana na hiyo kampuni kwamba wasimamie uwanja wa ndege kwa miaka 30 huku wakiendelea kukarabati huo uwanja. Mr. Tony, ninaomba uweze kutuambia progress ni ipi? Nina imani kwamba hata kama unazungumza Kimombo, kuna wale ambao wanakusikiliza. Ninaomba uweze kutueleza progress ni ipi kuhusiana na kesi ambayo uliweza kuweka mahakamani ili Adani isije kachukua uongozi.
I wanted to give a small brief what happened on the Adani matter as we proceed with the evening. A lot of Kenyans, and thank you to all Kenyans everywhere, I think we are going to win this war. I'm 100% sure we are going to win this war. On the 11th of November, Kenyans all over X-Space, many of them also appeared physically in the Milimani courts. in order to hear the case against the Adani takeover of the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. On the day just before the court was to begin, the judge sent a message to the court that he was not available and will be available on the 27th of November. I mean, it was an amazing shock that the judge on the 11th hour was all of a sudden not available. The other case that was to be heard the same day of the Law Society of Kenya by a empaneled bench of 3 judges was also moved to the 17th of December. And again, it was moved, very quickly without any hearing going on. And there seems to be a lot of pressure on these cases, so much pressure that people are trying to kick the can down the road. But what happened was that by the time we were leaving the court on the 11th of November, the conservatory orders that were being enjoyed by the LSK were still maintained up to the 17th of December. But today morning, I got a call, and I'm very excited to report to the country that the eminent lawyer, Fred Ngatia, representing the workers of the airport, the Kenya Aviation Workers Union, proceeded to the High Court as we had agreed in our strategy. I'd explained this to Maribox about 2 months ago. We have a wide strategy. And this morning, the High Court issued conservatory orders preserving the airport until the pending and determination of the case. And those orders were given, and I posted right away when we received those orders. And so the workers are part of my case, the Tony Gashoka case. The workers, the Kenya Airports Workers Union are part of the case, and we shall all be in the court on the 27th of November when we shall consolidate the cases that are now before the High Court, particularly this one of today, which has won conservatory orders and which is a case of which we are party. And the workers are party. And therefore, those orders given to the workers are orders given to Tony Gashoka. Those are orders that we share and enjoy with the workers. So I want to confirm, I want to announce, I want to celebrate with all of you here that I can tell you without an iota of a doubt, not relying on the LSK order, but relying on our own case, that we have conservatory orders and those orders are there and the airport is safe pending the hearing and determination of the case. And this is a very good indication because the workers having entered in the forefront of this thing are also like me as a petitioner fighting for the same thing. And that is a war that is too heavy for the Kenya Airports Authority to win against us. And I think I would rather be us than them. We are in a very good place and the orders are intact. Ruto has poisoned the spirituality and people have begun to kind of look at it negatively for no reason. So this idea of, I know a lot of your members have been fasting and have been preparing for that. It's quite a long walk. 17 kilometers is quite an endeavor from all the way from KU to Uhuru Park. So part of what I wanted today was to give voice to those young Kenyans who were not only giving themselves out to do so, but also needed other Kenyans to hear of that event so that wherever you are in your own space and within your own Twitter handle, you can amplify for them so that, yes, those who are willing can all join them. And somebody asked at which point. I mean, I see no harm in people even going to Uhuru Park and even joining them there, those who will not be able to physically, walk the whole length. I think the whole idea will be to come together at some point within the whole day event. So Levi, if that is the best we can do, I wanted to conclude by finishing on the Adani summary. So in conclusion, I just wanted everybody to be aware that 60% of the Adani war has now reached a climax because the preliminary stages have now been overcome. There are several main petitions. Yesterday, the Katiba Institute launched a petition. Today, the workers launched a petition that secured the orders. And on the 27th of November, we shall be seeking to consolidate these petitions so that we have one major army sitting against Adani and JKIA in the case which involves the constitutional interpretation. So I would say that from where we began 2.5 months ago, we have made tremendous progress, and we are 60% there. And after the 27th, we expect that the cases will be consolidated and a hearing date will be given. The good news for all Kenyans is that a second conservatory order was given to hold and preserve the airport until the determination of the case. With that in mind, I didn't want to hold this space any longer. I want to thank everybody who has been able to come over, and that is the update from the Andani issue. We congratulated Donald Trump, J. Trump, for coming in. And as I said, we are developing a communication which we will share soon, welcoming him as president-elect and bringing up the issues that concern Kenya vis-a-vis the United States of America. And good riddance to Meg Whitman. We will not miss her, and may she go and never serve another country again.
So ladies and gentlemen, tuliweza kufanya hayo mazungumzo mwendo wa saa 10 na mwendo wa saa 1 jioni. The same Tony Gashoka akaweza kuandika email kuelekea Marekani akimurai Mr. Donald Trump aweze kuchukua hatua kuhusiana na uongozi wa Mr. Ruto. Tafadhali niliweza kuwaambia mapema kwamba hii kanda itakuwa ni mrefu. So ninaomba niweza kukusomea zile details ambazo Tony Gashoka ambaye ni mwanahabari mwenzangu aliweza kuandika kuelekea upande wa Marekani. Akaanza hivi, jinsi ambavyo unaona hiyo barua. Donald J. Trump, President-elect, United States of America. Dear Sir, title Kenya's relationship with US. Akaanza kwa kusema hivi: the people of Kenya congratulate you on being elected with a clear majority as president-elect. It is very important to inform you, sir, of the issue affecting our country and our people at this time in our joint history. US President Joe Biden, before your re-election, abandoned the people of Kenya in their plight, particularly during the peaceful demonstrations, or more accurately, the civilian uprising amidst cries for better governance, stemming of corruption, the better policies on avoidable taxation. These spontaneous protests were genuine and exercised by the youth or Gen Zs within the country. America's silence over the brutal Kenyan government crackdown on its own people was very loud following the meeting of President William Ruto and the Biden administration during a White House state visit earlier this year, 2024. I'm writing to you because further to the discussions, President Biden elevated the defense designation of Kenya to become a major non-NATO US ally, which itself requires us to conduct ourselves with poise and decorum on the one hand, and as vibrant multi-party democracy on the other. Unfortunately, I must flag some issues of concern that I believe will have a major impact on the future political stability of Kenya as free and vibrant multi-party democracy. Please usichoke. Mr. President-elect, Kenya does not have an electoral commission, IEBC, and the urgent constitution stroke restructuring of the same must be transparent and involve the opposition. given the government penchant for having off and slitting political parties and commanding politicians to its interest, Parliament has become severally compromised. Particularly disturbing, Mr. Ruto has usurped state coffers and taxpayers' revenues to bribe and otherwise incentive members of Parliament to cross the floor and join the government. As concurrence, what was an orderly opposition majority after popular election has steadily been eroded to less than a third of the House. This will undoubtedly have serious implications for the governance of Kenya and the ability of Parliament to hold executive accountable. The second issue of concern is the blatant abuse of human rights by the police and the sanitation and cover-up of their horrific behavior by the government of the day. The atrocities, including killings of innocent citizens by use of live fire and excessive force, together with abductions and enforced disappearances, which scatteredly the families who lost their children to these dreadful atrocities, are in mourning with no hope for state accountability nor compassion. At the center of this dreadful moment in our history is the person and the character of Mr. William Ruto. He is paranoid, angry, and thus rage-filled hold on power has become a threat to a fledgling democracy and compromised the foundation of our inspired and exemplary 2010 Constitution and its comprehensive Bill of Rights under Article 4. Please usichoke. Akaendelea kusema kwamba, as I write to you, the Kenya military KDF remains deployed within Kenya, something that was unheard of since 2008 dreadful and shameful post-election violence in which Mr. Ruto was implicated. Now, as if the lessons of the shameful events were never learned, Mr. Ruto is calling for the arming of the National Youth Emergency, National Catastrophes, or implementation of government plans, programs, and despite the horrors perpetrated by the police on peaceful protesters, IPOA, Independent Policing Oversight Authority, has not been effected in order to hold the police officers to account and bring some measures of reprieve and closure to affected families. I trust that with your historic re-election and the US intervention for human rights will assert maximum pressure on the person of Mr. President Ruto in order and that he and his official respect Kenyan law and uphold the country's Bill of Rights. As I conclude, the issue of transparent constitution of an independent electoral boundaries commission must be urgent matter and a red line that friends of Kenya cannot allow to transgress. The implications for a transparent, democratic, and peaceful elections, the bedrock of this country, democracy for the last 2 generations, will continue to remain in the balance without a swift, constituted, well-balanced, and constitutional sound commission. America and its long and profound tradition of promoting democracy, human rights, and economic prosperity in Kenya has not wavered before. And I'm confident president-elect that you will uphold this great tradition of solidarity with the people of Kenya. The president and his state apparatus must be held accountable to our constitution and their power kept in check. I want to thank you once again for your support and cooperation and future action on the concerns expressed herein. Assuring you of my best wishes, Tony Gashoka, veteran journalist, Mombasa, Kenya, to Trump Towers, New York, New York, the United States of America. CC, Marco Rubio, Secretary of the State nominee, Elon Musk, Dutch nominee, dated this 15th day of November. So ladies and gentlemen, huyu ni rafiki yangu mwenye anaitwa Tony Gashoka, ambaye ameweza kuchora barua kuelekea upande wa United States of America, aswa akielekeza kwake Donald Trump, rais mpya wa Marekani. Hey, Mr. Tony amezungumza mambo mengi. Tafadhali niliweza kuambia kanda ni mrefu, mtaniwia radhi, tuendelee kuzungumza mengi, niwasimulie kwa kina kile ambacho Mr. Tony aliweza kukizungumza. Kama wewe ni mgeni, chukua sekunde yako moja, piga subscription, tuendelee kuzungumza. Mimi ni Mkenya halisi. So ladies and gentlemen, sasa hivi nina imani umeweza kuelewa sababu ambayo iliweza kumfanya President Ruto kuweza kumpembeleza Donald Trump kukubali pongezi zake kipindi ambapo Donald Trump aliweza kutangazwa kwamba yeye ni mshindi wa kiti cha urais upande wa Marekani. Kutoka hapo nyuma, mtu ambaye anaitwa William Ruto alikuwa na supporti Kamala Harris, lakini inaonekana kwamba sasa vijana wa Gen Z pamoja na wanaharakati hapa nchini, aswa huyu mwanahabari ambaye ni Tony Gashoka, wameweza kuamua ama wameweza kuchukua jukumu la kuweza kuhakikisha kwamba wanamjuza na kumpasha Donald Trump yale ambayo yanaendelea hapa nchini, jinsi ambavyo William Ruto aliweza kushirikiana na balozi ambaye aliweza kuondoka Migi Whitman kuweza kuendeleza uovu wa serikali. Number 1, kwa kiduchu tu, sitaweza kusoma yote wapenzi watazamaji. Bwana Tony Gashoka ameanza kumuelezea Donald Trump kuhusiana na maandamano ambayo yaliweza kuandaliwa katika taifa letu la Kenya mnamo Juni, Julai pamoja na Agosti. And in fact Gen Z wameweza kutangaza maandamano mengine tarehe 21 Novemba mwaka 2024. Wacha tusubiri tuweza kuona jinsi ambavyo yatakuwa. So, bwana akaweza kumueleza kwamba vijana hao walikuwa wanaandamana wakitaka corruption iweze kuisha, wakitaka maamuzi bora, aswa policies, sheria nzuri ziweze kutolewa kule bungeni, ziweze kupitishwa kule bungeni, aswa za ushuru ule ambao wa Kenya wanaweza. Lakini akaweza kutilia shauku kwamba Amerika iliweza kutulia chini ya utawala wake Biden kipindi ambapo Gen Z waliweza kuuawa. Kumaanisha kwamba balozi wa Marekani ambaye aliweza kuondoka aliweza kuelewana na Ruto asizungumze chochote. Hicho ndicho ameweza kumueleza cha kwanza, kwamba waweze kuchukua hatua yeye kama rais na Amerika jinsi ambavyo inaheshimika, wasije wakampea William Ruto sikio, wala waweze kumkaza aweze kuwapea fidia wale ambao waliweza kuuawa, wale ambao waliweza kuumizwa. Number 2, bwana huyu bwana Tony Gashoka aliweza kuzungumzia swala la IEBC ambalo limeweza kukithiri katika taifa letu la Kenya. Swala la IEBC, tunajua kwamba IEBC hajaweza kuundwa. So sasa hivi hata Wakenya wakitaka kuimpeach wabunge hawawezi, kwa sababu as we speak hakuna IEBC ambayo inaweza ikakagua hilo. Na nielewa wapenzi watazamaji. So wanasema kwamba hakuna IEBC ambayo inaweza ikakagua hilo. So wanaomba Ruto aweze kukazwa kabisa, IEBC iweze kuundwa, aswa wakitilia shaka uchaguzi wa mwaka 2027. Vile vile ameweza kuzungumzia swala la William Ruto kumeza opposition, aswa Raila Odinga kuelekea kwa serikali, akisema kwamba hiyo sio demokrasia. Nimeweza kuona ameweza kumuelezea kwamba bwana Ruto ameweza kuharibu, ameweza kunajisi katiba ya mwaka 2010. Swala la maafisa wa KDF kutolewa ili kuweza kuchunga vijana wa Gen Z kipindi cha maandamano alipoweza kumfurahisha. Vile vile akaweza kumueleza Mr. Donald Trump, kumwambia kwamba hichi kitendo kinaashiria kura za mwaka 2007 ambapo aliweza kusema kwa William Ruto aliweza kuhusika ndani. Kwa hivyo akaweza kumwambia kwamba akimalizia ako na imani kwamba serikali yake ya Marekani itaweza kufanya kazi kuweza kuhakikisha kwamba vijana wa Gen Z wanapata haki katika taifa letu la Kenya. Nimeweza kuelewa tangia tulipoanza mazungumzo, nimekusomea barua ambayo ameweza kuielekeza kuelekea US. Sijui unalipi, lakini lengo la huyu mwanaharakati ambaye ni mwanahabari Tony Gashoka ni kuweza kuhakikisha kwamba ule ukaribu ambao William Ruto alikuwa nao kuelekea kwa Joe Biden hautakuwa katika serikali ya Donald Trump, kwa sababu anasema kwamba ule ukaribu ambao ulikuwa baina ya William Ruto na Joe Biden, Wakenya wakaweza kupata haki kipindi cha machafuko ya mwezi wa 8, mwezi wa 7, mwezi wa 6. Vile vile nina imani kwamba huyu kijana hakaweza kuzungumzia maafisa wa huyu mzee hakuzungumzia maafisa wa polisi. Anyway, kama unaniona bwana Tony Gashoka, bwana wewe si kijana, wewe ni mzee. Hakaweza kuzungumzia swala la maafisa wa polisi kutumu upande wa Haiti. Sikuweza kusikia kizungumzia hilo. Anyway, nimeweza kulizungumzia. Sijui wazo lako ni lipi. Tutapata kweli haki kutoka upande wa Marekani? Aswa bwana Tony Gashoka ameweza kuandika ibarua kipindi ambapo Gen Z wameweza kutangaza maandamano tarehe 21 mwezi wa Novemba mwaka 2024. Sina la ziada. Wacha niendelee kumeza madawa ya malaria nione kama nitapata nafuu. Asante kwa support. Asante kwa kuendelea kutunulia credit. Asante kwa wale wote ambao mnazidi kututazama. God bless Kenya. God bless our country. God bless our channel Kenyan Media. Our aim is to hit 100,000 subscribers within this year 2024 before it ends. See you in the next video.